So there's bonneted, it looks so bonneted. And, that's
And things like judging, you know.
3, 2. Good afternoon and welcome to Wagga, and specifically to the 37th annual Wagga and District Scale Model Association Expo and Show. It is the Expo side is traders from all over New South Wales and Victoria who come here and display and sell their goods. And the show part of it are model builders who build their models and put them on display, and hopefully at the end of the day they might be able to take home a trophy or a certificate. We have on display here today well over 100 models of all different scales, of all different genre. Trucks, both bobtail and haulage, scale model aircraft, whether they be military or commercial, cars being whether they be competition or just ordinary cars, and aircraft. As I said, all scales and lots of figurines, some sci-fi, and even some boats, some maritime models. Dioramas are very popular as well, and we even have some very large-scale radio-controlled trucks here on display as well.
Oh yeah, maybe we should. Why don't we just walk past some of more of these tables?
Sure. Why don't?
Yeah, it's live stream, and
What we have here at the moment are multi-combination trucks. Being trucks, whether they be cab over or bonneted, with their trailers.
absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
The multi-combination just simply means that there are different varieties of prime mover. Moving on.
Oh wow! So all these categories that you've got, obviously, there's judging involved.
Yes, that will be the highlight of the organisers' afternoon, where we try and co-opt people in to do judging, and it's not necessarily a popular activity, but we'll do it. And each category gets judged on a scale of 1 to 10 on 5 or 6 different criteria, and at the end of the day, we tally all those up, and there's a first, second, and third in each category. Tomorrow afternoon, that's Sunday afternoon, at 3 o'clock, we have our major prize winnings or prize givings, where we announce formally announce each category's winners, and the winner gets a trophy and another prizes, and the kudos of being having a winner. There's also a People's Choice Award, or members of the public who come in here are asked to fill in a little slip to nominate their favourite model. It's not based on anything other than the individual's choice. So the People's Choice Award, we also have Car and Truck of the Show, we also have Diorama of the Show. So it's a range of categories, and what we're looking at here, what we call bobtail trucks, that are trucks which are for the prime movers only. The trailers, whether they be containers or whatever, aren't included. And there are 2 categories. One's with the bonnets, as you can see, and one's where the actual cab is over the engine. And the descriptive there is they are cab over trucks.
Oh wow! I mean, when I look at these, all these different types of trucks, I mean, and there is a category there, but also all the different color schemes and the work that's gone into them. Judges really have the work cut out for them, I take it.
Well, they do indeed. Some of the trucks are actually built because the modeler has a connection to that haulage company, and they model the truck with the colours and the decorations of that truck. Others are just built as a expression of the builder's artistic and build quality or buildability.
Is obviously not easy, and the amount of time and energy that gets put into each of these, I guess it varies based on skill, but also material and whether you have scratch building,
Well,
those sorts of things.
that's true. The building process can be what's called out of the box. That is, what you buy is what you put together with the decoration, the decals, the color scheme, the everything is as provided in the initial build. Other modelers like to add detail, whether it be custom decals or custom color schemes or other parts that are replace the kit parts to be more accurate and to be more to scale. You can only do so much with injected molded plastic. These days, a lot of additional parts are made by 3D printing processes, which can get down to extremely fine detail, much finer than injection molding can achieve. So maybe the future of the hobby generally, whether it be plastic modelling or even railroad, is probably lies within 3D printing technology.
Right. Okay. Let's hop over to the next table.
What we have here is a miscellaneous category. And as you can see, it's made up of a range of different spaceborne battleships. We have uh, uh,
Well, it looks
models from Star Wars,
Star Blazers, Yamato, and yeah, Star Wars, Millennium Falcon, and
and
I think that's Star Trek, Deep Space Nine.
correct, and beautifully built uh, um, rocket launcher. I believe you may have introduced it before.
OD, yes, yes,
And
fantastic work.
the other thing is that people can build something completely out of scale to the to a to an actual ship. In this case, a highly detailed part of a ship. This one is the main gun, the main 16-inch gun, I think, on the Japanese World War II battleship, the Yamato.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because that turret there is off the real life Yamato, whereas over there we've got the Star Blazers Yamato in the corner, which is the anime version that came out much, obviously, first is World War II, and that's sci-fi, but the Japanese that lost their lives with the Yamato, they're very proud of the Yamato, and that's carried through in anime.
The Yamato tradition is still alive. There is some very large scale models of the Yamato in Japan. Interesting to note that I believe that the main gun, and there were 3 of them, weighed something in the order of 700 tons each.
Okay, what else do we have? Oh wow,
We have more maritime models here. Over in the back of the table there is a category of motorbikes. We have various types of ships here. Some are scratch built, some are kit built. The one that you're looking at now is a Corvette from World War II. There were literally scores of these ships built very quickly but very effectively for mine laying, mine retrieval, transportation, shoot.
I mean, gorgeous work.
Yeah.
They could be in their own show, shipwrights show, but there's such a diversity here today.
Indeed.
Yeah,
this lovely Corvette right down to this.
Now that is masochist level.
Detail has been into that.
Tiny ship.
You could imagine the builder using a jeweler's loupe to see the.
There's my hand in comparison. Amazing.
It's wonderful detail. And if we could move on here, we have some more science fiction. What we call intermediate is meant to be intermediate in age of the modeler. That is, pardon me, somebody who is in their teens, and although I look at these and I think there are some senior modelers who couldn't achieve the same quality. If I could point you in the direction of this beautifully coloured painted blue Ford GT from about 2017 vintage in the actual car, and that is beautifully done. I wish I could produce something of that quality, and I can just imagine, only imagine,
that
really.
Is exceptional, isn't it? Like the decals and the paintwork, it's all flat. That's if they are decals. They may have just been painted, but it's all completely flat, and I can see the paintwork is just flawless. Yeah.
To think that in years to come, the builder of that model or building models of very, very high quality.
Yeah, it's about passing on to the next generation as well.
It is indeed. Now, over here is my interest in modelling is cars. Cars, whether they be of all vintages. I've been to various motor museums around the world, and these are absolutely magnificent. Cars pre-1950 is just one category. There are cars from different decades, and we'll move on and we'll see some of those. But the paintwork, as you can see on some of those, these are built by very experienced modelers.
Shall we pop over just to the other side to look at the other cars? We probably don't want to miss them.
Some of these cars are built as what we call stock. In other words, if you were to purchase these cars back in, say, the 1950s, this is what you would have driven away in. Others are rod or road versions, such as this little purple 1957 Gasser. That means it's not really built as a street car. It's built as a hot rod, to use a more common term. This Porsche 356 here. Now there is a convertible, Porsche made a convertible version of that car, and I think that may have been the model that the famous actor James Dean perished in. Beautiful work. Beautiful work, and we move on now to the design. It's changing due to construction techniques and metallurgy. Techniques were becoming more advanced. Aluminium was being used, as well as better quality steel. Cars had better braking systems and better suspension systems. The engines were becoming more efficient.
And moving along, wow, it's a lot of entries here.
We have cars. There's a range of vehicles here, mostly in a category we call competition. That is, cars that were on a racetrack, that raced, and the competition there means they were in competition against other cars on the racetrack. And we divide that up into pre-1980 and post-1980. So a Formula One car or a Le Mans 24-hour car or a Daytona.
there any
cars would have been featured.
any particular, just a little bit of a side note, any particular category that you've actually built yourself before, Graham?
By coincidence, there is a very nice little model here in 1/24th scale of a 1967 Ford GT40 that is painted in Hawaiian blue with cherry red flashes over the front headlights. Car number one in that year's Le Mans 24-hour race was driven by a very famous driver of the time called Ken Miles. Unfortunately, Ken was killed shortly afterwards, but that car was a controversial finish. He finished first across the line, but was relegated to second place due to arcane and convoluted French racing rules. I have a model of that in 1/12th scale, which just by sheer coincidence was the car of the year of the show last year.
Fantastic. Okay.
I like building rally cars and competition cars.
How many have you built, Graham?
Over the years, dozens.
Yeah.
Dozens. My wife is always wary when the Aldi display catalogue comes in the catalogue, and I think she might hide it sometimes in case I buy another display cabinet.
That's
We
very
have
pretty.
here World War II. One of our muster categories, as I explained earlier, we have a category we call muster, being either in this year it's World War II, Italian cars or bikes, and and trucks, European trucks. Sorry, and that Thunderbolt was a very successful World War II fighter bomber.
It's actually not easy to get a paint job that clean either. Speaking from experience, as silver, anything light coloured like that,
Well,
to get it that sheen, and that reflective.
the
Spot on.
interesting thing is that the base colour is always the key to whether you're spraying or painting white, yellow, or silver, or a metallic colour, is to get the correct base colour. Silver, as that aircraft is, would go very, very well under a black base, whereas say a yellow or another very light colour from that colour spectrum would go better over a white base.
Fantastic. And I guess we'll just move on to the next tables. And I do note we have been looking at the models, but if you do want to say anything about the vendors as well, which we'll get to, but I think just quickly look at the rest of these. Right?
This is our muster tables where we have bikes of Italian origin.
Wow, gorgeous.
Mainly Ducati or Mato Guzzi, or this display mostly Ducatis.
And of course,
cars become a little bit easier.
Different paints are different eras, aren't they, Graham?
Absolutely. You know, Ferrari in their cars, every model here has a different hue of red, for example. When we're talking cars, in Italian cars, you have a much broader scope of modelling. We have Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Lancia. In this case, a couple of Lancia rally cars. More latter-day Paganis, Ferraris again, Alfa Romeos, and a Ferrari F1 car there. We have no problem in displaying the car with part of the...
We are live after all. Just looking at this, 1901, a tower, obviously different different sort of energies being put into that.
There are a lot of cars built when cars were invented, if I can use that term. The cars were made to drive on steam. Believe it or not, there are electric cars. The battery technology was pretty basic. But the internal combustion cars, you could see the difference in the tyre width. They were really quite unique, hazardous, but perhaps adventurous as well.
Yeah, the if you compare it to the internet, it was the dirt track of the time.
Indeed.
All right, so and we'll quickly shift to the next. Just moving along. Oh wow, okay.
While we're talking about the different models, I should mention also that a feature of our expo and show here is the fact that we're a lot of local and interstate traders come along and sell their stuff. It's all hobby related. Some sell kits, some sell parts and paints, whether they be paint brushes, tweezers, all manner of things. If we can have a look here at Rob Starkey from Star Hobbies and Collectibles, he has a huge range of pardon me, of detail parts, of kits, and he's come all the way from the south coast of New South Wales to be here in Wagga, and we're very grateful for his participation.
So it is as much an interstate event as well.
We have people here from Victoria, New South Wales, and I might even add a territory, the Australian capital there, that is.
Yeah, people come here to participate. They share all of their equipment, they share their sales, but also everything else, all of the models. It's a combined event.
The hobby is not huge, yeah, but it is a small-ish. There's probably more people than we know about, but it's a reasonably small cohort, and the traders, the people who import the products from overseas, very little of it is made here in Australia, regrettably, although we do have some very good manufacturers here. They form just as an important part of the hobby than the people who build the kits and spend the time and the energy and the expertise to put these marvellous kits together and turn a box like we see here into something. And that is when you can see both ends of the spectrum, it makes it a quite interesting and quite informative and rewarding.
It's very involved, and it is rewarding. These end results. I mean, every single kit here has had a lot of energy and time put into it.
Look, absolutely. We laugh sometimes about the detail, and if you could just take all the leftover bits of plastic and put them in a box and say, well, this has the potential of being a model, of being a finished product, but it is.
But this brings me to that question in this show. I mean, there are so many, like there are model kits here that a lot of effort has been put into, but there are also exceptional model kits, ones where it's like a masochist award almost.
Well, I won't. Yeah, it's interesting that you mention that. I like to build on 24th scale modern cars, either road cars or rally cars. I also like to butcher them, cut them in half to make space for an engine, and then source online the correct engine, and then somehow figure out how to put that into the model. Some models are provided with an engine. Some models, what we call, I can't remember the term now, some models are provided without an engine. A curbside kit, thank you. My age creeps up on one, and but that's means that it's a bigger effort, and a lot of people here do the same either with their aircraft or where you can detail the cockpit much more in much more detail than the kit provides. Trucks, once again, with the maybe a custom built trailer. So yeah, the boats. I've seen some boats with crew on board. That's not provided in a kit. So a lot of extra detail, time and effort, expertise goes into turning a cardboard box full of plastic into a finished product.
We actually have some remote control kits here today.
We have two.
Okay, so it's not a huge category here.
No, radio control tends to be another area of scale modelling, where highly sophisticated petrol or electric engines are provided, are built in with working suspensions, and radio control expertise by the owner and driver, where they have to negotiate a track, and that when you're not sitting behind the wheel, you're sitting in a side of the track to try and get the perspective right and get the right angle into the turn.
Less to do with scale modelling, but it's funny how it sort of tracks over a little bit. It does mix in.
You're absolutely correct, but it is still building in miniature.
It is, yeah.
And that is replicating something of a one-to-one scale in a lesser scale, and trying to make it as accurate as you can.
And there are all different types of arts here, like something we can attest to is lighting of kits. So doing some lighting. I think at the end of the table here, we have a vehicle that is lit.
Yes, we have. Could I just introduce you as we walk past to our secretary of our club? Have you got a second there, Scott?
Yeah, quickly, there you go. Good. Thanks, Scott. Just going through and just checking all the models in the right category. And then we get into go. Yeah, keep it going.
Thanks.
Okay, yeah, busy man. I can imagine with all the categories and having to go through the judging later. Yeah, you've got to make sure everything is correct.
Yes, the military categories are particularly difficult because not only in the complexity of the kit, but if you build something, for example, this diorama here that you see could be accurate to detail on one day, but the next day completely different. Because for a start, some of the detail on the prime mover might be changed. Spare parts might be added. The APC personnel carrier might be taken off the back and replaced with something else. So getting the timing right, it is a moment in time that what that model represents, and that's can be subject to discussion, shall I say, when judging occurs. But yeah, and the same goes for cars. Same goes for any military or aircraft category. Yeah, they are literally captioned a moment in time.
Let's go around to the other side of the side. I think this is really we're getting close to covering a lot of. I've got the lottery going on in the background, the raffle. Okay.
Yes, we are live. I've just been taking note too that my raffle ticket hasn't been drawn. Oh. But what we have here are post-World War II US, Soviet, and Soviet aircraft. And bearing in mind that the US manufacturers sold their products all around the world to the Western world countries, the Soviets did the same to the Soviet bloc countries. So once again, a Su-22 flown by the Russian Air Force might be essentially the same aircraft, but a different aircraft to the S-22s flown by, say, the Czechoslovakian Air Force. Likewise with the F-4 Phantoms, whether they be A, B, C, D, E. The Royal Australian Air Force flew a squadron of F-4E Phantoms on loan, and they were vastly different to the same aircraft flown by the US Air Force. We had them on loan pending delivery of the F-111s back in the early 1970s.
Right, right. I've just noticed our display for the camera is a little bit shy. So we are getting camera view. Apologies to viewers if it seems a little bit off frame, but I think our cameraman is trying his best to keep things within frame, so we don't know what is being recorded right now. But that said, one thing that I'd like to say, I mean, looking at all of these models, and a little bit of a side note for me, I think you know, it's one thing for us to actually have this live stream where everyone can see what's going on, and you know, life goes on with, you know, raffles and various things. But
apologies for that.
Oh no, it's live.
It adds character.
It does.
It means that we really are live. But if anybody is sitting at home watching this and they have the raffle ticket being called out, bad luck. You had to be here to win.
That's sort of where I was going with that too, because it's one thing for us to be doing a live stream. It's actually quite another thing to be here and to see these models up close. You know, when it's to the naked eye, you pick up so much more detail, and it makes the, you know, short visit that you may have for a very minimal amount of money, you know, quite a lot of fun.
There's an interesting model here. It's in 172 scale. It's a Soviet Chronoplan, which was a wave skimming 8 turbojet aircraft. It carried, as you can see, the rocket launchers on the spine of the aircraft. It was never put into mass production, and they only exist now as museum pieces.
Well, hey, Ben, our cameraman just won the lottery. Won the raffle, I should say, not the lottery. If it was a lottery, he wouldn't be here at all.
Yeah,
or maybe he would.
By now.
He'd buy the extra expensive kit and build it himself.
So we have here these are 132 scale and 148 scale aircraft. The 148 scale here are propeller driven, which is a separate category. There's also a 148 scale category of jet aircraft. We also, as you saw before, some commercial aircraft. The Aeroflot version, I can't remember the designation, but they're equivalent to the Concorde, but not nearly as long-lived. And a rather nice 747 Lufthansa there.
Okay, so yeah, Ben has just come back after some.
I want a motorbike.
You won a motorbike after winning a motorbike, which is a good thing. All right.
We will expect to see that
in the show next year.
And
it better be good. You better win. All right. Well,
we also have
what else we got?
From Victoria in the far corner there. I don't know whether the camera can pick up Oslo models. Now, Oslo specialise in Australian parts or additional parts for trucks and trailers. They have a huge range of Australian-made product, so we're very happy to a strong supporter of our club and our annual show. We have further in the corner against the back wall there, Kyeamba Hobbies, which mainly specialise in aftermarket parts for railway modelers. We have a table dedicated to swap and sell, where people, members of the public or members of the club, can put their unwanted kits. Although, in my mind, there is no such thing as an unwanted kit, but people have competitions of who can have the biggest stash. And we have one of our club members, their VIP models, specialises in aftermarket parts as well as a range of kits, paints. We're very lucky here in Australia for modelers that we have a very fine, two very fine manufacturers of locally produced paint. It's mainly lacquer paints, and lacquer comes with its problems with regard to masks and personal protection. But the SMS models in Victoria and Outlaw Paints in far north Queensland make superb products, and we have representatives of both of those manufacturers here, although not in person. We have a small outfit from the ACT called Runway 13, and Peter specialises in tools, parts, and painting equipment. And we're always very happy to have Peter here, and he's our panel operator for this live telecast.
Oh,
There we are, on screen. I don't know, is that a definition of infinity where you see what's in a mirror behind you and it goes on forever? And we have other personal traders here, people who are privateers, if you like, who have a stash of models which they come along and try to sell. And hopefully there's buyers. And at the far end, one of the Australia's largest contingent of radio-controlled 72 scale warships.
and that's what we were talking about before. Shall we go and have a quick look?
We can have
Yeah.
a go. Now, Task Force 72 operates in all states, and we have a fleet base, what we call a fleet base here in Wagga Wagga. And we have some marvellous models. Steve,
You guys are being
Steve.
topped in.
Steve, Mr. Bachelor, Steve, could you come here for a second? No, okay.
Yeah. We're
Okay.
just looking at these remote control chips. They are magnificent models, we are told.
They are.
Graham builds models exactly like that.
He used to.
Right, I see.
So we have here,
Okay, so there's a bit of competition going on here.
well,
Just a little bit.
let me just see here. This one here is called the Blackpool. I presume that's a British ship. Maybe. For the Royal Navy. World War II and after. World War II and after. After World War II. We have here some Royal Australian Navy patrol boats.
Graham is definitely under the pump. He's pointing at you.
So, other ships, but these are all radio controlled. They're all of a common scale, and they're all sailed here in Wagga Wagga at least once a year, and other parts of the countryside. We have some beautiful models of Sydney Harbour ferries.
And these were at the Model Shipwrights show, which, we did a video on the ACT SMS site, so that's available, along with this live stream and other videos of this Wagga Wagga show. And yeah, love these ships. Absolutely gorgeous.
We used to have once a year a ferry boat race in Scale to go along with the real ships having a ferry boat race on Sydney Harbour. But that we have some photographs here. I don't know whether the cameraman can focus in on these. This was held in a pond at Cook and Phillip Park in Sydney. So that was.
So the ones that we just passed, those are radio controlled up there, right?
Correct.
So that and these are all the same scale, and they're model ships, but they're built with wood.
Some of them are. Some of them are built with fiberglass hulls. The warships are predominantly on a fiberglass hull. The superstructure might be a combination of resin parts, scratch-built parts, and fiberglass parts.
Yeah, and yeah, fantastic job for this scale.
But all radio
work.
controlled. Would one of you be able to lift the cover off, the superstructure off a ship it might not have all the running gear in because these are just on a static display. You can see in here there's space for a battery and the motors, the electronics or the speed controller here, and there are different servos for the rudders and the speed controller.
So it's almost like you need an engineering degree and electronics masters.
That's giving these people far more credit than what they deserve.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.
And we also have from the Australian Capital Territory, ACT models. This is the Hobby Centre. This is their very, 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 very first time here in Wagga 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 Wagga. And we're very, very pleased to have them here.
This is very impromptu. We're just doing a live stream. So whether you like it or not, you just bang, you're right up there now. Yeah.
Look, Spielberg will be after you tomorrow with a contract.
Oh yeah, very quickly. Yeah, loved your setup, like how you've got.
But you know, I love the laser cut display pricings. Very impressive. Thank you for your attendance and your participation. Yes, we're very, very happy to have you here.
So do you guys have a site online? Sorry, it's
exhibitor.com.
right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I just realised because I've only got one microphone, so half of what you just said has probably disappeared into the nether. But yeah. So and you guys been around a while?
Yeah.
2021. And have you been finding business? Has it been pretty good? Do you go to many of these shows?
Yeah, like we went to Illawarra.
Okay.
At Wagga. I think that's it. Like we went to WinterCon as well in Canberra, but that was last year. They didn't have one this year, so.
It's worth mentioning that there is a hobby show in Canberra just in a couple of weeks, and no doubt you will be there as well.
All right. Well, nice to meet you guys. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, I think we're coming to the end of our live stream. So I think we've got 5 minutes to go. And look, it's been an absolute pleasure, Graham, talking with you about this show. And also, certainly, I think this, for everyone here, it's hard to, again, with the amount of effort that goes into these functions, these shows, and the judging and the organising and all of the people behind the scenes, as well as the people in front of the scenes, all the people doing the modelling. It's hard to express how much effort and joy at the same time these shows provide.
There is, and you're absolutely correct. There is a lot of work that goes into it. It isn't the work of just one person. This club has a committee that works for 6 to 7 months prior to this, organising it. There is a lot of work contacting the traders, organising the venue here. We're in a hall called the Kyeamba Smith Hall, and that is owned by the Wagga Wagga Show Society. And this hall it's an old hall, but it's the largest one in Wagga. And a lot of work goes into putting it all together: the catering, the setup, the application forms, the design of the brochures, and so forth. It's, as I said, it's a work of a committee that come together on the day. You wonder whether it's going to work or whether it's not going to work. We were lucky that we had 2 years because of COVID. Were we, or could we or couldn't we? Were we allowed or were we not allowed? Um, uh, all came into play, and that was just as stressful as putting actual show together, as I'm sure other organisations and clubs can testify. Last year was the first year we had after or post COVID, and people literally came out of the woodwork almost we had a bumper year. Not so much this year. I think the economy is starting to bite, and people can only do what they can do. We certainly appreciate every contributor, every trader, and every member of the public who have paid their money to come in and support us. Wagga is the largest inland city in New South Wales, and because of that, maybe we have a lot of activities most weekends. In winter, it's different sports, whether it be football or netball. To this weekend, there is a market. There is a festival called the Fusion Festival. We have this show here. There are a lot of other things happening in Wagga apart from regular sporting activities. So we're very grateful for anybody that comes along, and we're very grateful for participation by members, guests, and traders.
And there's a lot of benefit to coming here. I mean, the thing is, yes, you've got an entry fee, but as soon as you walk in, not only do you get to see all these fantastic displays, but you've also got these traders that are doing extremely good deals on model kits. As a hobby, it can get your family enthused and interested in this hobby just coming here.
Look, it's a worthwhile hobby. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It doesn't take up a lot of financial resources, because you can tailor it to whatever you can or prepared to afford. Myself, this weekend affords me the ability to not have to mow the lawn this weekend.
The truth comes out.
But yeah, I joke, of course, because being retired means I do it on Monday.
Damn.
But you're right. I mean, if we had a look at this pile of kits here, you can spend. At the end here, we have a lately released model of a Ayrton Senna's 1988 McLaren 4.4. That kit sells for $300. Well, that's a fairly big expense. But at the other end of the spectrum, you can rake together $35 and build a World War II tank. So whatever the I think the expression is, whatever floats your boat
or tickles your fancy,
or
or
tickles your
however you say it.
however you say it, you can. If something like
So many different topics.
so many different topics,
That's the beauty
and
of
so
it.
many different scales. It
I mean, Ferraris, all trucks, cars, planes, boats, ships, figurines, dioramas. It just keeps going and going.
it does.
And even launching into movies and anime and popular serials and
Gundam is an emerging and very popular genre.
It's been around a long time, and but it is becoming increasingly popular, and also Pat Labour, which fits in with Gundam, which is lesser known, has increased in popularity in recent years. But it's like, just look at all of these different topics. If you're a favorite TV show or a favorite anime, you're bound to find something.
You will find something. If it's what was that movie, Cars and Boats and Planes? Regardless of what it is, you will find a scale model to suit your budget, to suit your ability, to suit your time and passion.
I think what we might do is finish off the live stream at this point. Again, thank you for your participation, Graham. It's been an absolute pleasure, hearing basically from you, from the horse's mouth, so to speak, all of the detail of this current show. Albeit not everything, you can't cover absolutely everything in one live stream, but I think we've got a good taste of what's here.
As knowledgeable I am on the cars that I build, as a builder, as a modeler, as a president of this club, I know very little about bobtail trucks. It's not something that they're the bane of my existence when I drive to Melbourne.
But these modelers, they're the ones that go off and do a huge amount of research.
Exactly.
And, it comes back with something that, you just don't realise how much detail's gone in, but every single thing adds up to something great.
And of course, the vice versa of what I just said is that those expert truck modelers will look at my Lancia Stratos here and think, gosh, isn't that small?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that
exactly.
all it is?
Exactly.
So that's the...
Little do they know the trouble from the wife in the wee hours of the morning when you're working at it, and unsuspectingly. But at the end of the day,
in that particular case, it's a $35 kit with $150 worth of extras.
Oh, well. Okay.
Because I wanted to.
Yeah. And that's about it. It's about fun. It's about people having fun. So, yeah, look, I'm really happy to be part of this and cover this with you today. And I think ACT SMS is really pleased to be able to bring this live stream along. But also, I think we're just extremely happy that you've agreed to open up your hearts and open up the show and have it available to the public online for everyone to see.
Those people who have travelled a distance, safe trip home. And thank you once again for coming. And it's been an absolute pleasure to escort you, show you around our little show here.
Right. Okay. Right. Thank you very much, Graham.